British weather has always been unpredictable. You know the joke. Leave your house in the UK and you need a sunglasses, an umbrella, a parka, and possibly a lifeboat. But here's something you might not know. Back in medieval times, when the weather got wild, people didn't just complain about it on Twitter. They blamed witches. Yep, your crops fail, your ship sinks, your wedding day gets rained out. Clearly, it was Margaret from down the street, probably whispering to the clouds with her cat. Today, we grumble at weather apps. Back then, they executed people over thunderstorms. Welcome to the weird, hilarious history of how witches got stuck with the worst customer service job ever, controlling the weather. If you've ever been to Britain, you know small talk isn't about sports or politics. It's about rain. British weather is like a toddler with crayons, chaotic, unpredictable, and usually disappointing. But rewind 500 years, this wasn't just small talk. Weather literally decided if you ate or starved. One bad harvest, entire villages could go hungry. A sudden storm, ships and trade routes were wrecked. And when people panicked, they didn't exactly have the BBC weather app. No satellites, no radar, just vibes. So when your life depended on the sky, and the sky betrayed you, someone had to be at fault. And what's easier to blame than the mysterious woman who lives alone with a cat and occasionally mutters while making soup? Clearly she controls the rain. By the 1500s and 1600s, witch paranoia was everywhere in Europe. And weather? Top of the complaint list. Let's talk King James VI of Scotland, later James I of England, the guy literally obsessed with witches. In 1590, storms battered ships carrying his bride-to-be across the sea. Instead of saying, rough seas, James was like, nah, witches did this. He was so convinced that he wrote a whole book about it, called Daemonology, basically a medieval guidebook on how witches allegedly caused storms. Imagine a king is sitting in his palace, scribbling away. Chapter 4, How to Spot a Rain Witch. Trials were held. People were tortured to confess that they brewed up a thunderstorm in a cauldron. How? What's the recipe? Eye of newt, toe of frog, and a sprinkle of ruin your harvest? Here's where it gets hilarious. Villagers really thought witches could summon weather like Alexa. Picture this. Villager. Why is it raining on market day again? Crowd. It's Margaret! Yesterday she sneezed near a puddle. Clear evidence. That was the logic. Meanwhile, meteorologists today stand in front of green screens waving their hands like weather wizards. We have a 60% chance of scattered showers. Translation, we don't know. Bring a jacket. Or don't. We're guessing. Honestly, meteorologists and witches aren't that different. Both get blamed when the forecast is wrong. And can you imagine modern excuses and witch trial logic? Forgot your umbrella. Must be witchcraft. Rained out barbecue? Clearly the neighbors hexed you. Missed your bus because of hail? Time to burn someone at the stake. Eventually, science said, okay, enough. In the 1600s and 1700s, clever folks started experimenting with tools to actually measure weather. The barometer was invented to measure air pressure, which told you if storms were coming. Thermometers, rain gauges, wind vanes, all that jazz. Suddenly, people realized storms happen because weather happens, not because old Lady Margaret made eye contact with a cow. But here's the kicker. People didn't just drop superstitions overnight. Even with science explaining things, plenty of folks still clung to the witch theory. Kind of like today, when half of us trust climate scientists and the other half still think Jeff Bezos has a secret weather machine in space. And honestly, we haven't changed that much. People still love weather conspiracies. Ever heard of chemtrails? The idea that planes leave streaks in the sky that secretly control weather or your brain. Or the one about government weather machines. Same energy, just swap out witches for Wi-Fi towers. Twitter arguments about climate change are basically the medieval witch trials, just with memes instead of torches. Instead of shouting, "She's a witch," people now tweet, "It's all fake news, bro!" Which is why it's kind of funny. Centuries later, we're still blaming forces we don't fully understand. Just less cauldrons, more hashtags. So, here's the moral. Next time it rains on your barbecue, don't blame witches. Blame the jet stream. Or if you want to keep the tradition alive, just shake your fist at the sky and yell, "Margaret, not again!" Honestly, if witches were in charge of weather, Britain would at least get a summer longer than 3.5 days. So tell me in the comments, who do you trust more with the weather forecast? Meteorologists or witches? Smash that like button if you've ever been betrayed by a rainy wedding day. And don't forget to subscribe for more historical LOLs, where history gets funny.